In the world of Grand Prix racing, the difference between winning and losing is measured in tenths, even hundredths of a second. And although winning drivers get all the glory, it's really the team's effort that makes that microscopic difference. The driver must stop periodically in a pit lane where a pit crew of around 20 highly trained professionals services the vehicle, replaces the tires, fuels the tank, and makes instant repairs. Obviously, the crew must do this as fast as possible. For every 10 seconds a car is in the pit stop, competing cars will gain about half a kilometer. The world's fastest pit stop is just under 4 seconds. 4 seconds. Now that's what I call the speed of trust. Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children in London has earned a reputation 150 years in the making for being at the forefront of children's services in all aspects of care, especially critical cardiac surgeries.
It's famous, really, for that. And if you're going to be the best, do the most, then you have to address every weakness in the process.
At one point, 7 infants died in quick succession following surgery. This motivated doctors to dig deeper.
We found out from a previous study that the most dangerous time in a cardiac surgical procedure wasn't the operation or the time in the intensive care unit, but the journey between the two, because you have to disconnect the baby from a lot of kit, put it onto a trolley, move it down a corridor, reconnect it to another bunch of kit, and transfer a lot of intellectual knowledge about the baby from one tired team to a new, fresh team.
It's this issue of if during the handover you omitted to tell the other team something vital that may save the patient's life or avoid a major incident.
You can do the best operation you have ever done in your life, and you can have the best intensive care team waiting to receive the baby, and you can completely screw up in a 2-minute period when you move the baby from one place to another. One night we sat down and watched the TV in the room next to the operating room, and the Formula One racing came on, and McLaren came into the pits. A bunch of guys got themselves very organised, came in, changed the tyres, filled it up with fuel, exchanged a lot of information with the people at the pits, and he set off again in 6.8 seconds. And that seemed to us to be remarkably similar to the process that we were going through.
Even though it seemed like a bizarre comparison, actually there's an enormous number of parallels that we can draw between a pit stop and the transfer of a patient from surgery to intensive care. They all involve complex technology, multi-specialist teams, lots of people doing lots of different jobs all at once. They're conducted under time pressure. They need to be error-free.
So I then got in touch with the McLaren team, and we then went to Maranello, where we met Nigel Stepney, who was the head mechanic of Ferrari at the time.
When we went to Ferrari, we showed them a video of the handover process.
The first thing we were asked by them when they watched the video was, well, who's in charge of this process?
Doctors, people like me, are trained to help. So if you imagine that when the patient came back from the operating room to the ICU, it was like a new challenge for everybody, and we all rushed around the bed, but got in each other's way and we're all talking and trying to help. This is fundamentally opposed to the way in which the Formula One pit crew work. They know their job, each one does it silently, they do it and they get out of the way. Trust each other.
It's about teamwork and communication, and having a leader, and a very clear leader.
We introduced a system which was very well defined, who's in charge of the process at different times.
Who does what, when, and in what order.
I think that the trust is critical. I have to trust that those other people will do their job well. And my public demonstration of that trust is to step back out of the way, because I don't need to be there when they're doing their stuff.
I think it's much better now because everything's focused, everybody's got their own role and they know their own role as well.
Now we know exactly where everything's going to be at any given time, while before it was very random.
We reduced the number of errors. We improved the transfer of information.
Seeing them get better, and over the years seeing the results improve dramatically is just magic.
It felt quite a good feeling that actually we have made a difference.
Since the implementation and constant improvement of their new systems, the amount of actual errors during handoffs fell by 42%, and the amount of information handover omissions was reduced by 49%. Just like the precise Ferrari pit crew and the meticulous hospital surgical teams, you can build trustworthy systems and structures that enable people to succeed.